Okay, so here's the thing we're not considering.
Okay.
We're always like, Selena can't be the best assassin. What if all the other assassins legitimately suck?
All right, we're back with chapter 56, the last chapter in Crown of Midnight.
Hallelujah.
What a journey.
Amen. Holy
Amen.
whatever bless your soul.
This has been, 2 months?
Ugh, yeah.
2 months, oh my goodness. Okay. Well, there will be some discussion at the end of this about some plans going forward for what we might do. So stay tuned for that.
We checked this out on the 6th of January. Because we started reading it the day we checked it out.
Yeah. So not quite 2 months then. That would be the 6th of March.
Oh, yeah.
But close to it.
Man, we could
close
have
enough.
been done so much faster if we didn't skip 3 weeks. No, 2 weeks. More or less. Because we skipped a few days, you were gone for those 3 days, and then we did skip an entire week.
Yeah. We needed the break to come back.
We really did. Like, man,
irritated.
After section 1, part 1, having that literal week-long break, I was like, it's so lovely not having to be calm every night.
Yeah.
So nice to do other things with my evening.
Mm-hmm.
Please.
Don't worry, you'll have another break. All right, chapter 56. Kale didn't understand what she told him, the words she'd whispered in his ear. It was a date. Not even a year attached to it. A month and a day. A date that had passed weeks and weeks ago. It was the day that Selena had left the city. The day she had snapped at Indovir a year before. The day her parents had died. So it keeps happening on the same day?
Fake phony baloney, I'm sure.
He stayed on the docks long after the ship was out of the harbor, watching its cells become smaller and smaller as he mulled over the date again and again. Smaller and smaller again and again. Same sentence. Why had she told him everything about those those weird keys, but made this hint so obscure? Yeah, Selena, why did you tell him everything about those weird keys?
Whether Kale knows it or not, he needs enrichment. If she had just told him everything the way it was, he would have forgotten about it. But by having one little question, his brain's going to be like, oh, what was she talking about?
No, she's going to just keep gnawing at everything.
Yeah, she's practically... It's finally come off. She's practically Scott Cawthorne with FNAF.
What could possibly be more important than the horrible truth about the king he served? I know, they keep being like, oh, he's so horrible.
Yeah, but I serve him.
I serve him. I'm loyal to him, but he's horrible. Oh, and now he's even more horrible. Is he?
Is he that much battle from when this book began?
Yeah. Kale.
Kale.
The weird keys, while they terrified him, made sense. Really? I guess kinda. Their greater concept makes sense.
I'm just surprised it made sense with how fast Selena explained them.
Yeah. They explained so much. The king's great power, his journey that ended with the whole party mysteriously dying. His journeys that ended... Did we know about this before?
I don't remember.
I don't remember. Maybe it was mentioned. It kind of feels like something that was maybe mentioned. His journeys that ended with the whole party mysteriously dying. How Kale...
Galbatorix AF.
Oh my goodness. All the dragons dead.
They're not all the dragons. His entire...
No, when he was an apprentice or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that what happened?
The dragons died, and I think his companion...
Did the companions die too?
I think he's the only one who survived.
Okay.
And then in Warthog, this character introduced in Warthog is like, I'm taking credit for all of this. And it's like...
For killing?
She says that, after Galbatorix's, dragon was killed and everything, he, found her in the spine. Because that's what it did happen in the spine. And she says that, he was obeying, whole prophecy to take over Allegazia and
That's really lame.
So lame. She's either lying or it's the truth. I think it's fine if it's a lie, because I think that's just kind of funny for the villain to be like, yeah, I'm trying to show my hype. I'm trying to gas myself up to you. Galbatorix happened because of me. Whoa, But lame if true. Also lame that it wasn't really, we aren't really sure whether she was telling the truth or not. But let me be clear, ultra lame if true. Just saying. Anyway.
Great power. how Cain had become so strong, even the time Kale had talked to Parrington. So now they're chopping it all up to the word keys.
How convenient. Everything just matches together.
Even the time Kale had looked at Parrington and seen his eyes darken so strangely. Oh, I thought it was the metaphorical darkening that is used so often in fiction.
Yeah, when people
those kind of darkening eyes. I was a little surprised that Parrington looked at him and his eyes darkened, but...
Parrington, he's a horn dog.
But when she'd told him, had she known what kind of choice she'd left him with? And what could he possibly do about it from Aneliel? Unless he could find a way out of the vow he'd made, he'd never said when he would go to Aneliel. That's really stupid.
I really don't think that's going to work.
Old Pops is dragging you off.
Old Pops is like, boy, if you don't get your ass, if you don't get into the car, I'm staying.
He could think about that tomorrow. For now, ellipsis. When Kale returned to the castle, he went to his rooms, sorting through the contents of her desk. He went to her room, sorting through the contents of her desk.
It's so lame to me. Rude. That Kale and Dorian have had a falling out.
Yeah.
It's astronomically lame.
I'm sorry, are you drawing a really caked up butt?
Yes. That was cheeked up on a Friday morning.
Yeah, the falling out is really lame.
Like, at the very least, I would expect them to, Selena's gone, okay, we can get back together.
Yeah, it really feels contrived for more drama so that they can't be communicating about stuff. And I don't like that. Yeah. I'm sick and tired of guys falling out in books because of a woman and they're like, we're no longer friends. Anyways, I don't like it.
No.
Heaven forbid we have interest in the same thing and we can't both own it entirely as our own. Anyways.
Whatever happened to respectfully, I saw her first. And the other person goes...
Respectfully, may the best man win. Respectfully, we still hanging out on Tuesday.
She likes me.
Oh, yeah.
Respectfully, she's chosen me. Now let's go hang out on Tuesday. And I was like, man, okay. You saw her first? Yeah, because you dragged her out of prison. Anyway, that's not the one. The point is, I'm not impressed with Kale and Dorian falling out.
Yeah. He checked the will she'd written, but that had been signed several days after the date. Okay, the date he was told. So several days after. The silence and emptiness of her chambers threatened to swallow him whole, and he was about to leave when he spotted the stack of books half hidden in the shadows of her desk. Wow, Dorian, you suck at hiding stuff.
I should have said stuff last chapter, but it's like, I want to hide these in here. The room with no lock that's now going to be unoccupied for an amount of time. Who knows what people might go in.
Yeah, anybody can go in here.
Like, it might be assigned to someone else for a while until Selena comes back, you know?
Yeah, or the servants might use it for, or other people could use it for discreet rendezvous.
Yeah, literally.
Genealogies and countless royal chronicles. When had she brought these books here? He hadn't seen them that other night. Was it somehow another clue? Standing before the desk, he pulled out the Royal Chronicles, all from the past 18 years, and started back, one by one. Nothing. Then came the Chronicle from 10 years ago. It was thicker than all the rest, as it should be, given the events that had happened that year. But when he saw that...
Well, they have one from 18 years ago and 10 years ago. What happened to 20 years ago?
No, just past 18 years. Dorian couldn't be bothered to find that one. The 20th.
Too heavy.
19 or 20th, yeah. But when he saw what was written about the date she had given, everything froze. This morning, King Orin Galathinius, his nephew and heir, Hro Galathinius, and Hro's wife, Evelyn, were found assassinated. Orlin was murdered in his bed at the royal palace in Orinth, and Hro and Evelyn were found dead in their beds at their country estate along the river Florine. There is no word yet about the fate of Hro and Evelyn's daughter, Aelin. Kale grabbed the first genealogy book, the one on the bloodlines of the royal houses of Adarland and Terrasen. Convenient that they have a book specifically about Adarland and Terrasen. It's a little odd. Was Selena trying to tell him she knew the truth about what had happened that night? That she might know where the last Princess Aelin was hiding? The lost Princess Aelin was hiding? That she had been there when this all happened? Dude, she was 8 when this all happened?
He's not thinking about that. He's too stupid.
He too stupid. He flipped through the pages, scanning the genealogies he had already read, but then he remembered something about the name, Evelyn Ashvar. Ashvar? Evelyn had come from Wendelin, had been a princess of the king's court. Hands shaking, he yanked out a book containing Wendelin's royal family tree. Wow, we got all the family trees.
Hey, at least...
It's a different book.
At least Kale does his own research. You know, if Selena was given this date, she was like, I have to go talk to someone who knows and can tell me everything about this date.
So true.
Selena can't read.
Wow. Despite the huge deal made in the first book about how much she loves reading.
Oh, you know,
because the target audience loves reading.
I forgot
You forgot that. Just like Maas. Maas didn't forget it, though. There was definitely less ridiculous emphasis on her reading in this book. It's just like, ugh. There was still stuff of it, but it wasn't so over the top. The family tree, on the last page, Aelin Ashvar Galathinius' name was written at the bottom, and above it her mother, Evelyn's. That's how family trees usually work, but the family tree traced only the female line. The female, not the male, because two spots above Evelyn's name was written Mab, Aelin's great-grandmother. She was one of the 3 Fae sister queens. Sister queens? Anything like sister wives? Sister queens.
Man, I wish.
The Fae sister queens, Maeve, Mora, and Mab. Mab, the youngest, the fairest, who, when she died, had been made into a goddess, known to them now as Diana. Diana, Lady of the Hunt.
Did the movie say Lady of the Hunt?
Yes.
That is... Come on, Maas, get a grip. Get some creativity. Why are you just pulling this straight? Isn't that a Greek goddess?
Artemis
Artemis. No,
is the hunt.
So, okay, her name doesn't start with a D.
But it's still, it's a Greek name. Isn't Diana, isn't
Maybe.
that Greek?
Diana, I'm coming for you, Diana.
It's probably not pronounced Diana. Well, who am I kidding?
I mean,
But
let me
it's
see.
Dana.
Oh,
Dana.
Dana.
Diana. Dana. It's Dana. Dana, Lady of the Hunt. The memory... Why can't she be Mab anymore? Was Mab not glorious enough? The memory hit him like a brick to the face. The memory?
You remember this?
The Yolmas. Here's the memory. The Yolmas morning when Selena had looked so uncomfortable to be receiving the golden arrow of Dana. the arrow of Mab. You know, that was just like an insane amount of attention to be drawing to her. So I feel like that would explain the uncomfortableness, you know? But sure.
No, it's always something else.
Wow, it's getting more cake. Oh, wait, no, that's a bosom. I was looking at it upside down, everyone. I thought it was like a weirdly caked up
like
butt.
This is the back and this is the cheeks.
Yeah.
I don't know what you thought all of this
Leg.
was, but
I could only see like the beginning of thighs going down. I couldn't see the rest of it.
Oh.
But now that I see it, it's lovely. All right, back to this ridiculous story.
For the record, it's not only a bosom, okay? Just for the record, it's not only a bosom.
But what I thought was a butt is a bosom. And Kale counted down the family tree one after another until my great-grandmother was Fae. Kale had to brace a hand against the desk. No, it couldn't be. He turned back to the Chronicle, still laying open, and turned to the next day.
Ah!
And turned to the next day. I'm not sure why he thinks the answer will be in the next day. I'd be nosy, though. I'd be like, yeah, what's the entry for each day? What was the most important thing? Aelin Galathinius, heir to the throne of Terrasen, died today, or sometime in the night. Before help could reach her deceased parents' estate, the assassin who had missed her the night before returned. Her body has still not been found, though some believe it was thrown into the river behind her parents' house.
And how do they know?
How do they know? Literally. No one knows what happened to the daughter, but now they're like, oh, she's dead now. Convenient. It's a cover-up. She'd once said that Arobin had found her half dead and frozen. On a riverbank, he was just jumping to conclusions. Maybe she merely wanted him to know that she still cared about Terrasen, or there was a poem scribbled at the top of the... Why would she have had access to this book? Unless she... when did she write this?
I don't think she wrote this.
You think someone else wrote it?
I think someone else wrote this.
Okay. Just seems like a silly thing. A bit full of themselves. child might write because it's fun. And they think it's delightsome. But she was only 8. I don't know what her writing was like.
Why would this be Hove when she's 8 writing this poem?
She was a posh princess. She could speak like
why
this.
would she have this book? This is I know
that's what I was saying.
Oh.
Like, I was like, wait a second, why? Because I thought she wrote this.
Oh, okay.
From when we skipped ahead. I was like, wait, why did this book then get here? There was a poem scribbled at the top of the Ashvour family tree.
I hate you,
as though some student had dashed it down as a reminder while studying, which that was what made me think it was her.
Wow.
Like, she was reading and, like, bored and studying family trees and wrote that out. Ashvour eyes, the fairest eyes from legends old, of brightest blue, ringed with gold. Bright blue eyes, ringed with gold. A strangled cry came out of him. Ah! How many times had he looked into those eyes? How many times had he seen her avert her gaze? That one bit of proof she couldn't hide from the king. Selena Sardothian wasn't in league with Aelin Ashvour Galathinius. Selena Sardothian was Aelin Ashvour Galathinius, heir to the throne and rightful queen of Terrasen. I feel like it would have made sense to say Selena Sardothian wasn't in league with, like, the rebels or something. Mm-hmm. And then say she was Aelin Ashvour Galathinius, just because it's kind of ridiculous to see, like,
the names.
One sentence apart, both of their names fully written out. And Aelin Ashvour Galathinius is a long name. Oh, it's happening again. Selena was Aelin Galathinius, in case we forgot the last sentence. The greatest living threat to Adarland, the one person who could raise an army capable of standing against the king. Now she was also that one person who knew the secret source of the king's power, Imdash, and who sought a way to destroy it. I mean, Kale, you know the source. You're just not seeking a way to destroy it.
Listen. Before you keep reading, good.
All right.
He's like, oh, she's the one person who can raise an army. Can she, though? She seems pretty incapable of doing any such thing at the moment.
Actually, from what we've seen, I expect she is capable of it. Or I should say the story is capable of raising an army for her. And he had just sent her into the arms of her strongest potential allies. I mean, wasn't that kind of your goal? To get her to people she'd be safe with? To the homeland of her mother, the kingdom of her cousin, and the domain of her aunt, Queen Maeve of the Fae.
Wait, I thought Maeve
was her
because the youngest
aunt.
daughter is Maeve's sister was turned into Dana.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Maeve's sister Mab was her great-grandmother.
Do you think Selena's going to be turned into a goddess too by the end of the series? I sure hope not. I bet it's going to happen.
Selena was the lost queen of Terrasen. Chaos sunk to his knees.
You just said that!
I know.
At the end of the book?
That was at the end of the book.
Man,
there was a lot of repetition. There's a lot of repetition.
Bloody hell.
Now, I did not have the insane, intense feeling as the end of book 1, where it's like these last 5 chapters should have been the beginning of the next book. However, that could be because we were reading this instead of listening to it like all at once, where it's like, oh my gosh, why is this still going? Oh my gosh, it should have ended already.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's an improvement or if I'd been listening to just like the audiobook, if at, the end of the chapter where they get the portal sealed, if it would have been like, okay, it should have ended there.
Yeah.
But instead, they got to leave it at somewhat of a cliffhanger to keep people
engaged,
ready for the next book. Which, lots of people do that. That is a standard thing.
Right.
I cannot say Beyonders did anything different.
Literally.
The difference was Beyonders was only 3 books. And good.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see, if they had stopped before Archer was killed and everything, when they run up to the portal and they're like, oh boy, how are we going to fix this? I can definitely see how people would say, it ended too soon, they didn't wrap up the loose ends or whatever.
Yeah, I guess so.
I could say, you could have had some more drama for the beginning of the next book. Some people will say, I think it will always be that some people will say, what a great cliffhanger, and someone else will say, what a terrible, unfinished end to a book.
Yeah, probably.
And they could both think, great, let's go to the next book of the series. But one person would just want more loose ends to be tied up before the book finishes.
Yeah.
But, I just don't like this book, and I've disliked my experience reading it and above.
Yeah, so here's my overall thoughts on part 2. Part 2 did not cause nearly the degree of, irritation in me. Like, I hardly remember anything from book 2 if I'm being in part 2 if I'm being honest. Like, I could give you a summary of, like, things that happened, but I don't remember just off the top of my head things that stood out as, like, oh, this is ridiculous. There's, like, the standard things that have been continuing, the ridiculous stuff going on with on again, off again, do I like them, these guys hate each other, anyways, yeah, which I don't like. That's just keeps continuing. There wasn't, like, anything, like, really big that stood out. I'm, of course, dislike what happened with Archer. My delightsome dear. I hope he's never mentioned again. May his name never be besmirched.
Yeah.
He's gone. He's in hiding. He's fled. This was, in fact, a bubble fruit. No, not bubble fruit. Dang it, there's that fruit from Fablehaven where if you prick your finger on it, it grows into a copy of you that lives for 3 days. Anyways, this Archer has been persisting on that fruit.
Can bubble fruits clone
not
themselves?
bubble fruit. It's
well, whatever it is. Can one of the food people, can they prick their finger and make another one?
I think so, or else you just have to keep blood from that person. I don't remember.
Yeah, I remember something with like what's the girl's name? Kendra pricking her finger at the beginning on like grapes or something. I don't remember. And then like clone Kendra has to do something. I don't remember. And then I know it does come back later where they like use it to their benefit.
Oh yeah, those things are used multiple times. They're used quite a bit. Anyways, so I feel like my final takeaway from this book, it is in desperate need of better editing. That would really help with a lot of the problems I feel. Some serious editing and revisions would have been good. That didn't happen, clearly. There's themes that lots of people enjoy reading, which, you know, if you enjoy reading that and you don't mind the inconsistencies and issues with this book, I see how you could like it. I don't like reading those things. I feel like they're overused. They're not great. Unless you're like trying to make some commentary on it and use it in a transformative building or edifying way, I'm like, yeah, no thank you. This is so tiresome. Yeah, so that's kind of my takeaway. I did not like it. I see how people can like the book if they overlook a bunch of stuff.
Or they just don't think about it.
Or if they just, want to merely escape into something and not think about it, which does not lend itself to a book club, unfortunately. Yeah, that's kind of my big takeaways. Any big takeaways from you?
I do feel heavily inclined to do one of those memes where it's Kevin Hart. There's like a picture meme. Oh, it's Kevin Hart in the arms of some woman. I don't know. The only person I know in the meme is Kevin Hart, right?
Oh,
and
I know
he's holding on to her. She has like one arm around him and she's pointing at this other woman. And you can see like the back of that woman in the frame. I was literally brushing my teeth last night thinking about that. How it's me, Archer's Kevin Hart, of course. And the woman looking at us is Sarah J. Maas. Because I can't take it personally because she just wrote this damn book like a decade ago, right? Mm-hmm. It really feels like Sarah J. Maas wrote a character that I could enjoy specifically and then obliterated him.
Yeah.
Officially from book 1, my favorite character is a 1,200-pound rat. Y'all don't know about that, but it was very funny when it happened. But, canonically, my favorite character would be, like, Nehemia. Just because, I hate everyone else. Uh-huh. And then, like, Nehemia dies in this book. I really, really dislike how Maas handled Nehemia's death. I can see... I talked about it in book club how I think this lends to the Nehemia being a part of the magical minority trope. And I can definitely see how people could be like, oh, you're just looking into it too deep. Or it's not the magical minority trope because of XYZ or whatever. I feel like it is. And I don't like how it happened. I feel like you still could have had Nehemia dying in such a way where she doesn't functionally kill herself to
sacrifice herself
to send Selena on her way to make her answer the call so Selena can be a badass for the next 5 books. I really dislike that. Yeah, so I don't like what happened with Nehemia. I really don't like what happened with Archer. But it really feels like the kind of characters Maas likes writing are the kind of characters I don't like reading.
Yeah.
And, like, obviously, clearly, many people like this series and like the writing and find it compelling and stuff. We just aren't those people.
I mean, we keep saying many people. I'll admit, I'd never heard of this book until we started reading it. I'd of course heard of Akatar, A Court of
Thorns and
Roses. I'd heard of that one. Never heard of this one. So I mean, we say people like it, and people and like the people in our book club say this is the best series. I'm like, wow. I've never heard anyone say anything about it. I never saw anyone with these books, only with Akatar.
By many people, I mean it's been read by like 3 million people on Goodreads. Yeah. So that's when I say that's what I think of. And like the majority of the people in our book club like it.
Yeah.
So from a sample size of 7, most people like this book.
Yeah, but a significant number of people joined the book club for this book. So this is not a random sample.
That's so true. Yeah. Yeah. Literally, our cousin started this book club between me and Beth, and then our cousin and that cousin's sister, right? Mm-hmm. And then our cousin, who organized the book club, was telling her friends about it, and they were like, she said that they kind of made it seem like they would have liked to join it. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, the more the merrier. And then they were like, oh, a book that would, since Beth and I didn't suggest any books. Yeah. I was feeling I don't know. I didn't feel like I had any good books to offer. I
wasn't motivated. I was like, a book club? I mean, if you want to put it together, okay.
Anyways, the point is, then they recommended the Tog series, and they really, really, really like Throne of Glass. And then another person joins in who also said they joined in because they heard we were talking about Tog or whatever. So the point is, Beth's right that it is not a random sample size. It's not a random sampling because 2 people three people joined because they wanted to read Tog.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think we talked about this earlier. It's not so bad that it, like, counteracts the moral neutralness of it existing or, like, liking the book. Like, it's completely morally neutral. I don't think there's any part of, like, how relationships are written or anything that are like, man, this book is a cancel, and we really need to talk about like how terrible this is written and how well and how the like the narrative acts like it's a normal good thing.
Yeah.
Like it's not. Listen, I've like bolstered and complained and like shrieked over this book plenty of times during our reading. It's not a big deal. It's literally not all that. Mm-hmm. I do wish that we stopped. I mean, I literally said we could keep reading the book. But if we had stopped at part 1, I could have put the book down and never thought about it again, ever. What a joy. I think I will. I mean, I'm sure I'll read other books and forget about it, but I think I'm just going to be mad about Archer for a while. Oh. Just because I liked him so much. And God, of course, Maas could never do anything that we actually liked.
Yeah.
So I don't have for our book club, for the first part of the book, I made like a whole presentation and I wrote like 3 paragraphs in the question responses. I don't feel that kind of passion in me now. I think I'll probably talk about Archer, but like that's the main thing. Another difficult thing. Listen, this is the wrap-up. I can talk as much as I want.
This is the wrap-up. Our final thoughts on this book. You'll never hear about it again.
Hopefully.
Well, we might reference it, as we do in this, where we bring up other books.
Yeah. One of the difficult things is I'll think about all these things I dislike about these 2 books that we've read, and I'll be like, now how is this different from the books I do like? Well, I honestly feel like there's books that I like that do things similarly. Have similarities to Crown of Midnight, and I'm fine with them that way. So it just makes me think of like how much hypocrisy am I having? How much am I saying, oh, this is terrible, just because I dislike the book?
Well, to which I say, when you're reading something for a book club, like this is the chance to look at things critically and like further understand why you do or do not like things and build your understanding of books. It's not just about reading fun books with other people. So I feel like it's totally fine to like recognize in a book club, there's this book that I have thought about and I don't like it. I just really don't like it. We read it for this. I've got a better understanding for why I don't like things. And I realize those things can still be in books I like if I'm just not like thinking about them. But it's just good to be aware of,
Yeah. Anyway, it's not comfortable. I wish this book was wholly unique in everything I hate about it. So that I could say, but my books are wholly superior. But they're not, if I'm being completely honest. They're not. They're not all that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so hopefully on like Sunday I can answer my questions for book club and then stop thinking about this book until next month. Or is it the month after next month?
We'll have our meeting in April.
March, April. Damn.
Yeah, we got another book to read before then, though, too.
Yay, Verity by Colleen Hoover! Yippee!
Yeah, speaking of, we've got some thoughts for how we're going to be doing our videos going forward. We haven't decided anything yet, but we're not quite sure if we will be continuing this live reaction read-along format for Verity. There's a possibility that we will switch to more like a weekly video where we just like have like a mini book club to discuss with you our thoughts on the chapters that we covered.
I really thought you were going to say with you, our thoughtful audience.
Well, I mean, they are also a thoughtful audience. Look at you, flatterer. And we'll get together once a week and have just like a more structured video. We'll see which one we decide to do. If you have any thoughts on what you would like to see, go ahead and let us know. The weekly video, less videos.
Daily? Oh, weekly.
If we do weekly videos, that's less videos. So that's kind of nice to not have to like always be in a place where we can record when we're doing this, when we're reading, because that does really limit us to being in a single room. We can't read while driving or anything. The person driving, of course, would not be reading. It'd be like the two of us going somewhere, one of us reading, the other driving, just to clarify.
Oh, I'd have to drive every time.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see. Oh, also, just another note, we've got a pretty substantial backlog of videos, so there shouldn't be too much of a break, but we are, in real life, taking a 2-week break between this book and the next one, just because we will be busy and some of us will be out of town and stuff. So hopefully you don't have to wait too long before we dive into Verity by Colleen Hoover.
Miss Hoover?
Miss Hoover! But there will likely be a bit of a break. All right. I think that sums it up.
Okie dokie, yeah.
Bye-bye, everyone.